Well, we start the hour in Paris, where authorities have identified an Egyptian national as the assailant who attacked a group of soldiers at the Louvre Museum on Friday. The assailant was shot as he attacked the soldiers with a machete. While addressing the media, French prosecutor Francois Molin confirmed that the 29-year-old suspect had acquired a one-month visa in Dubai. Investigators are still trying to piece together elements of the crime, including whether the assailant acted alone. More than 230 people have fallen victim at the hands of attackers allied to ISIL.
The investigations which have just been initiated are ongoing and will continue in France, but also outside France in the frame of the international crime cooperation to determine the journey but also the motivations of the perpetrator, and also find out whether he acted alone, spontaneously, or if on the contrary, he was following instructions.
Well, let's get you more details now and insights on this developing story. We have CGTN's Elena Casas, who now joins us live from Paris, as well as Adel Mahroui, who is standing by for us in Cairo. Elena, I'll begin with you. What more can you tell us about the investigations into this crime yesterday and what we know so far?
Well, French media have named the attacker as Abdallah El-Hamami. Now, they found that name by going through the lists of people in Dubai who applied for French visas in the last month. As you said, he was an Egyptian national, apparently 29 years old, married and living legally in the United Arab Emirates, who had applied for a month-long visa to France from Dubai. He arrived on the 24th of January and had rented an apartment just off the Champs-Élysées, so a short walk from the Louvre Museum where that attack happened. He'd rented it until the 5th of February. They've also found out that he bought the 2 machetes that he used to attack the soldiers here in Paris a few days ago, and they found a large amount of cash, euros, and an iPad that they're now searching in his rucksack, which didn't contain any explosives or other weapons. That identity hasn't been confirmed by French authorities just yet, but as I say, we've seen that name widely in the French media. What we don't know is if he was part of any terrorist group or if anyone directed him to carry out this attack, or if he was simply acting on his own. His Twitter account shows that over the last 24 hours before carrying out the attack, he'd posted a number of tweets calling for the arrival of an Islamic State and things which would point to this having been an attack motivated by Islamist radicalism. But we simply don't know yet if he'd been directed by anyone else to carry the attack out or if he was acting on his own. The man is now in hospital, very seriously injured after he was shot 5 times by soldiers, so he's not yet in a condition where police are able to question him.
Now, Adele, we do know, as you've heard there, that the attacker has since been identified as an Egyptian man. What more do we know about him from that end? And has there been any reaction from the authorities there?
Well, there hasn't been any reaction from the Egyptian authorities because, as you know, that the identity of the attacker itself has not been officially revealed or went into serious accusations. But from the name Abdallah Al-Hamami, it seems that it links to the character that Lynn just described to us, his details. Living in the UAE, he's an Egyptian who comes from Al-Daqahliya governorship. His father, if that's the true identity, of course, of the attacker, his father was a former police officer. Now, from what have been apparent, the last tweets that he has, they all had content that supports the Islamic State, that supports an ongoing war, without naming in specific what is the war against. But he said that from now on there should be no negotiations, no bargaining, just a war without mercy. This is one of several tweets that he have been calling, and they all hint that there is sort of a radical or puritanical thought of Islam that has been dominating his tweets, or the last couple of tweets. Among them, a tweet that clearly named ISIL and said that what is wrong with having an Islamic State in general. So it seems like it, but whether it's an individual attack or self-recruitment or self-radicalization, as they've been calling it, it's still not clear.
Now, Elaine, I'll come back to you in Paris. You have told us a bit about the condition of the assailant, but now where does this investigation head next?
Well, really, investigators are hoping that he recovers from having been shot 5 times by soldiers to a condition where they actually can question him. His condition is still, though, critical, so that may be some time away. As I said, they have searched the apartment that he rented here in central Paris and have yet to come up with any evidence that would connect him to a broader plot. They did also conduct a series of police raids in the area last night. They raided a number of flats, but they've not yet revealed if any arrests were made, so we don't know if they found any possible accomplices. They are also searching the iPad that they found for the details of his social media contacts, who he might have been in touch with if he was planning a broader plot. But as yet, we don't know what they may have found there.
And finally, Adele, are there any concerns as yet in Egypt that this case in Paris could be an indication of growing recruitment of Egyptians to participate in terror activities with groups like ISIL beyond Egypt's borders?
Well, there are definitely concerns among Egyptian security apparatuses that the recruitment, whether it's for ISIL or any militant group in the region, that there is a recruitment process that has been successful, not just in Egypt, but in the entire region. But is it a growing recruitment? It doesn't seem so, at least from an Egyptian perspective. But at the same time, if that is true, if he has been recruited from Egypt, that will definitely be alarming. But we know that he's been living for several, regardless to the time, but he has been moving from the UAE to France. That in itself is an indication of how the recruitment is happening. But in general, Egypt will take that seriously. It's still that officially nothing has been done, and therefore the Egyptian government has not taken any official reaction. But what we know from sources that there is a coordination going on between the embassy there, the Egyptian embassy in Paris, and the French authorities trying to coordinate and share intelligence between both countries until they have clearer information about what exactly has been going on.
All right, thank you to you both. Elena Casas joining us live from Paris and Adel Mahroui in Cairo.